What a start.
It's on camera.
It's on camera.
What a way to do it.
So we're here at Absolute MMA St Kilda with LACHLAN GILES, and of course anyone who's familiar with grappling definitely knows who you are. You took out the last ADCC bronze medal in the open weight, which hasn't been done in how long?
I'll make it up. 12 years.
Yeah. Since Marcelo, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Absolutely guessing, but yeah, we'll say that.
So what's the ADCC?
Unbelievable.
What does that mean? Is this like a
so the Abu Dhabi Combat Club.
Okay.
When did you first hear of ADCC?
Oh, I guess, I don't know. It was around when because when I first started training, I trained with like George Soteropoulos.
Yeah,
qualified, you know.
Wow.
And he fought Marcelo actually. So
Damn.
maybe that was the year. I don't know. Yeah, so I guess like there was two people. It was him and Chris Dirksen, two people from Melbourne that were training at the gym I was at in Hangar 4, who had qualified for it. So I guess I had no idea really what it was, but I knew it was a big thing. It was like at the time, like it was like the idea of getting paid money to do a jiu-jitsu tournament was crazy.
Wow.
So and they were offering like $10,000 or something for the winner even back then, and I was like, oh.
What year would this be, you reckon?
2004 or something probably.
Wow.
Yeah.
And at what point did you think, hey, a key priority in my life is going to be to try to win this freaking tournament?
Well, I actually went in my first trials when I think I was 17.
Wow. Wow.
Not like Joseph Chen, who's actually good when they're 17. Like, no, this is just like 1 year of training.
Wow.
And and we had a wrestling coach.
Okay.
An Iranian, but it was a Greco coach.
Okay.
And I'd only been to a few lessons, but he told me I was really good, from just drilling. He's like, oh, you're really good at that move. And it was the arm throw.
Wow.
Whatever you call it. Sayonagi.
Yeah, right.
I was like, okay, I'm good at this move. I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
ADCC trials, why not bust it out? And then I just gave my back straight away. Yeah. But I suppose I then it was a few years, and then I competed in it again as a brown belt, I think, and I came second.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, well, I want to tick going to ADCC off the, well, not tick it off the bucket list. I want to try to, that's a big achievement.
Definitely.
So there's kind of like points in, I think you just get shifting goalposts.
That's right.
There's like at first, if I ever get my black belt, that'll be that'll be amazing. I'm happy with my jiu-jitsu if I ever get my black belt, and then, to win a national title or to qualify for ADCC, and then once you do that, you're like, okay, well, what else can I look for? So I don't even know why I'm going back this time, because it's going to be pretty hard to top.
Wow.
Top the bronze medal in open weight, but we'll see.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah.
So you know what it is now, you fucking ignorant person.
Hey, I don't know. I'm the idiot on this fucking show.
Yeah, because it was I'm pretty sure the Prince was in New York and started training with Henzo or something. Some royal.
Maybe, I don't know the history of it.
There's some crazy story.
Really?
Yeah, there's some wealthy Arab people who are growing jiu-jitsu. Good on them. Anyone who wants to throw money into jiu-jitsu, go for it. They got a stadium now. 15,000 people, over 10,000 people. This is going to be unreal.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
What's the biggest group you've performed in front of, attendance?
Probably the last ADCC. I think I'm going to say like 3,000, but that could be totally wrong.
Shit.
Wow.
2,000.
When you hit like a submission, do they cheer? Is that how it works?
Yeah.
They cheered
That's
this song.
sick.
Yeah. I was like yeah, I got the biggest applause because I was like the little guy beating up big people, so that was good.
What does that feel like? Like when you like...
Oh, it's ridiculous, yeah. I mean, I don't even know how to describe it. It was just...
The fact that you're talking to him without seeing that footage and whatnot, and you have no idea.
I got no idea.
We're really...
Yeah.
It's a
Who
lot
are you?
Doesn't matter.
It's funny because it is like for someone who's so close to jiu-jitsu, you're so enmeshed in it, it's your world.
Yeah.
But then obviously it's such a niche, it's a niche within a niche. Like even, I never talk to people that don't know what the UFC is.
It's kind of good because like I definitely wouldn't want to be like a famous person. That like you just walk down the street and people recognize you. Yeah, that would be terrible. Like if everyone that you walk past recognize you, that would actually be terrible.
Yeah, you gotta watch your P's and Q's.
Yeah, it's just like it's nice. Every now and then I'll get surprised, you know. It could be like, oh, hey, Lachlan. I'm like, oh, jiu-jitsu person, you know.
Yeah.
At least you know you've got like, you know, if they talk to you, you can have a, where do you train? Like, you know, there's some interesting,
common,
but like if you were an actor or something,
you experience some like negative consequences of being a bit more well known?
Nah, not really.
Not really.
Nah.
But you're pretty.
Craig, it gets to Craig.
How so?
No, he's just like, he likes to. I've been like, you know, on the seminar tour and so on with him, and he likes to have his own time.
Yeah. Well, some people, maybe it's more of an American thing, but people can be very rude. Yeah. With like when they're just imposing. If someone clearly doesn't want to speak to you, always, you know, like I remember Sean O'Malley was at the Vegas trials, and he just had a hoodie on, glasses, and just had this look of, I really don't want to communicate with anyone. I'm like, okay, respect that. Like, you know, the guy doesn't know. That's the thing. I'm like, if I get it, like I had this urge. I was at the Vulcan where Rogan performs.
You got a photo with him, didn't you?
No. Okay, maybe. But I was with I saw Tony Hinchcliffe was with like some girl, and I'm like, man, I should go to him, you know, get a picture. My mind's running off. Maybe he'll be like, oh, I'll put you on, you know, something. So and I was like, hang on, what am I gonna do with this picture? Yeah, is it that important? Is my life gonna change? Like, let the guy.
I think for some people that is like. Yeah, actually, you're kind of lucky in jiu-jitsu. Like you can go and train with. Well, no, you can't. You can't go and train with Craig Jones because they've got the new rule. You know,
what's the new rule?
Don't ask the pros to roll. No, actually, I mean, look at that. No, that's fair enough. I mean, yeah.
Do you train with just random people you don't know in here?
I mean, I just do my rolls in the pro session. So like, and then even then, I'm usually like if I'm leading up to ADCC, I'm going. Who do I want to roll with? It's got the skill set that helps me improve for that tournament. So like, it's definitely like, it's hard being a coach and like for, you know, like I'm trying to build up the team, which means I should try to roll with as many people as possible, but it's hard to do that and also focus on yourself where you need to have the exact type of training that gets you better. Yeah, that's tough. But so I get why Craig has that rule. I saw like all the comments online. People were like, really but like, you know.
Who's your like toughest opponent you've ever had?
Toughest? I've lost to JT Torres 3 times, so I'll say JT Torres.
Is he tougher than Gordon Ryan?
Tougher? Oh, way. No. I mean, like, is he better? I assume you say, like, is he better? I don't know. How do you judge that? Like, Gordon Ryan's 120 kilos now or something. Yeah. JT's my weight, so like, how do you judge that? Yeah, I don't know.
What's Gordon Ryan like really good at?
Everything. To be honest, he's good at everything. Yeah. His biggest weakness is probably his wrestling, as in like that would be the area that, like the takedown side of it.
Okay.
That like I think like everywhere else, the top jiu-jitsu guys like are gonna really struggle to even score on him. But in wrestling, I think there's some top jiu-jitsu guys, all wrestlers that could score on Gordon. So
what problem did you have with him? Like what was the main problem that you had with him that you couldn't overcome, or you felt like you?
I mean, like he got into my half. Like he's a lot bigger. He got into my half guard. Once he got some pressure on me, it was hard to. Like I did a pretty good job at keeping him away.
Yeah.
I had some chances at his legs, but once he got up and closed the gap, it's pretty hard if someone's good. If they're big and they're not good, it's okay. But like if they're big and they're good, it's pretty tough once they're.
And did he just submitted you or?
Yeah, he got my back after that.
And just rear naked choke?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any what was the initial thing after? It was like, I could have fucking beaten that guy. Do you know what I mean? Or you're just like, no, he's like, nah, he
stirred him
fucking
up.
destroyed me.
Well, actually, like we had like a leg lock exchange. Maybe it might not be a good term, but like, you know, I had a chance at his leg which I missed. But then after the match, he's like, oh, you know, he kind of like got on there. So they were like, oh, what did you think of Lachlan's leg locks? Like, so someone just asked him that.
Yep.
Like, oh, it was, you know, he said, oh, it was nothing. Like, you know, it was nothing.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, well, I kind of like, you didn't do that well in the exchange, Gordon. It was, you know, he did like, you know, he got out of it.
Yeah.
But like, I just didn't appreciate it.
And he's supposed to be the leg lock guy. Yeah.
Crap, so.
He's supposed to be the leg lock guy, yeah? Is that how it works?
Yeah. Look, he's got a good leg lock.
I'm a leg lock guy.
I'm a leg lock guy too, obviously. And I try to, Gordon's very well rounded and I'm trying to be well rounded too. But yeah, I mean, I never even claimed that I was any better at leg locks than him. It would be nice to acknowledge that I did good in that one exchange.
Yeah.
But I mean, in the end, what does it matter if you don't submit them?
And then he came out with the old, "You're on steroids." Because did you?
Oh, that
say
was much
first?
later.
Oh, that was much later.
Is he on steroids?
Gordon.
Allegedly.
Well,
Who knows?
yeah, I don't like to point fingers, but yeah.
How has that affected the jiu-jitsu community?
Steroids.
Yeah. Like, how can it make you a better? I don't understand how it makes you better. Isn't it how smart you are?
Well, I mean, everything matters.
bit of a
So,
lie.
like, I think the thing is, the higher the level of competition, the more other factors start to play. Like, you know, everyone, like you get 2 white belts.
Mm-hmm.
One could be twice as strong as the other, but like the technical difference between the two can just make such a big,
okay.
you know,
okay.
because it's like the technical difference is so broad, but like high level black belt, the technical differences are usually much less so. I mean, there can be mismatches, but like,
understood.
so therefore other factors such as strength, I think, play into it more. Weight plays into it more. And then there's like probably actually just training load, you know, like you hear these guys that are training 6 to 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
It's like, well, they're going to get a lot more skills than
Definitely.
someone who's training 2. So,
yeah.
yeah.
And so what's your like ideal like amount of training hours compared to like as in like, what do you think to be at a higher level you can consistently do throughout the week per day? Like,
what's
is it 6 to 8?
ideal, or like, I mean, you got to wait. The way up is that you get injured. So like,
Okay.
So the ideal is actually some amount that allows you to do the maximum without getting injured. But that's kind of hard to know. And I guess the recovery is supposed to be better with the performance enhancing drugs. So like, I guess they get an advantage there. But yeah, I guess the more the better. I mean, I think for an up and coming athlete, the more training load is better. Just like, you just need volume. There's so many things to learn that just if you can do 8 hours a day, then you just pick up more, which, I mean, I don't really know if anyone, I think people say they do 8 hours a day. I don't know if anyone actually does, but I have heard people say that. So,
Levi's supposed to be like notorious for just.
He would do a lot. Yeah. But I think once you got your game, like once you know what you do, it's just like, I mean, these days I honestly train like, we've got an hour and a half pro training session, and it's probably like an hour of actual live sparring, and I don't do any training at night usually. So that's like five days a week. So it's not even that much, but it's like what a hobbyist could do. But
and like, what are you working on?
But I've got my I know my moves. I just need to just be doing them, and I'd rather at my stage, I think it's more like you want good timing and intensity, and like you need to it's better to have good quality training at this stage than more than volume.
Yep.
Lachlan, you're not doing any strength and conditioning. You're not doing any steroids. Are you serious about ADCC?
I'm just a hobbyist. I don't know why I'm there.
It's a glorified hobbyist.
But when you go out,
I also think like my approach has always been like focus on the long I've
Yeah.
always been pretty good at this. Like, okay, what's going to get me good in 5 years time?
Wow.
And I still even think like, even though I'm like,
Well,
you know, I need to be, I need to be at my peak for this ADCC, but I also, like, I've always had that. And that's probably why, you know, it took me 17 years of training
damn.
to get my medal. So like, I think
Yeah,
you can train every day for an hour and a half and you eventually have the same training volume as the person who was doing 8 hours a day.
Yes.
It just takes you longer to get there,
Yes,
but you
yes.
peak later. But that's, you know, maybe your body's more intact and it's a little smarter for a long-term, you know, viability strategy. Because I think if you run, you know, a lot of these guys now that you see that are 20 that are, you know, training like madmen, I don't think they'll be around in, you know, 10 years time in the jiu-jitsu scene. Which I don't know if that's good or bad. I mean, you peak when you peak, I guess.
Is jiu-jitsu like getting younger?
Seems to be, yeah.
It's just like
Although I think it's like in judo, I think in the heavyweight divisions, there's like still some older guys around,
Yep.
but the younger, the lighter weight divisions, like I think you don't really see anyone after 25, because it's just like there's so much, you know, you just
Speed.
the injuries just pile up. I think judo's like ridiculous. If jiu-jitsu is bad for injuries, judo's terrible. But
yeah.
I think you're kind of seeing something like that in jiu-jitsu as well. I think the bigger, heavier guys, they don't do as much. You know, there's a bit more like just lean on people and wait for your time to shine, so they can last a bit longer. And training's probably easier because they're bigger than everyone, so they just get to bully everyone in training. Whereas the little guys have to like, training's hard.
I found that like we had a guy, a good friend of mine, one of my housemates, Vince. He fought Dan, Big Dan.
Yep.
New Wave. And Vince is maybe 110. He's been as heavy as like 120 kegs. Like big guy. Tall as me. He looks like a Viking. Beard, blonde hair, you know, blonde beard. And he, Dan elevated him just like with a butterfly hook, did that. Basically that saddle entry you said not to do. The one Gordon blew his, I think, LCL out on.
All right, yeah.
He kind of did that, and I remember he kind of pretty smoothly put him into the saddle, and I'm like, I know that entry. Isaac knows that entry, and in the training room we're working with him, but we just can't give him that reaction because as soon as I try to load him up on my leg, he's gonna sprawl. And there's just too much weight for me to be able to give him the right reaction. Yeah. So it's never realistic almost. I can never give him that right sort of cue for him to understand what to do. So it's like, it's tricky. That's I guess another thing is depending on where you're living, if your training partners are less skilled or their physical attributes, you know, don't match up, how would you, sort of tailor your training to still get value out of that? Because I know that's something you'll do, right? You'll kind of adjust your intensity or whatnot to be able to get something out of it.
You can always work, like, you know, I always think if you want to get, depends on your level, of course, but like if you're the best guy in the room, then you have to like find ways to challenge yourself. Yeah. Whether that is like letting people get good position and then trying to get out, or even just like, you know, everyone in the training room has a different thing that they're good at, and try to like fight them in their best game, so that you're getting like used. You know, if you can beat the instead of like running away from their good butterfly guard, like take them head on and learn how to deal with it. So
Lachlan pulls me aside the other day, pro training. He's like, "You getting good at leg locks?" I'm like, "Yeah." Just fucking filmed an instructional. He's like, "Cool. Does the guys at B team leg lock you much?" And I lied. I was like, only the top guys, only the main guys. And we start training, and I got heel hooked in about 10 seconds. And I was like, that's great. I was like, that's really nice. Yeah. And then I had got like 2 corrections made on my braking mechanics. I'm like, this is great. It's freaking still haven't figured out the one move I thought I knew.
Yeah.
That's the thing, because you look like a small guy.
Yeah.
Like you don't look like someone that's like would break your arm.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's so crazy. Like when I look at
But
someone
I'd
in
break
jiu-jitsu,
your arm. You know what I mean?
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's probably I'll show you all sorts of people, but then he'll break my arm. You know?
He would break your arm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah,
That
I'm
would
sure.
be.
A lot of people would like to see a lot of things, Adam.
Have you ever like been in like a situation where you're like, mate, just tap? Like you've been like
in like
in a competition.
in a competition.
Or is it like, because when I'm doing it, or when I used to do it, whatever.
Yeah.
It was just like you didn't go through with the
In training.
exactly.
Training. That's happened
Yeah.
heaps, yeah. Especially heel hooks for some reason. It's just like
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Some people with arm bars as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done that to someone on an arm bar.
Yeah.
Hyperextended their arm on
Yeah.
purpose. That was on
He's
purpose.
bragging. You're bragging.
It's about 12 years ago.
Yeah.
In competition, it's like depends what competition you're doing.
Yeah.
I think if it was a smaller comp, I would probably just let it go. You know, like it was a heel hook, and if I really didn't care about the competition, I honestly,
Really? You
I might, yeah.
Yeah.
Depends how confident. Like if it was someone I was like, I can just win another way.
Right.
But if I was like, this is my one chance to win, then I might be a bit
Yeah.
a bit different.
Bad luck.
Obviously, in anything I really cared about winning, then it's on them. You know, like they've got to recognize the situation they're in.
Yeah. What was the worst injury you had?
Myself,
Yeah. Like did anyone ever do that to you or?
not from submission. I mean, probably worst injury from a submission is probably just like like in a tournament. Like I've probably been armbarred and had it pop. Not bad, but just like you know, sometimes you tap. By the time you're tapping, there's like
gone.
a little
Yeah.
some pops. No, I never had like a heel hook. I've had like bad knee injuries from training, like wrestling training. Like when I was 19 and 21, I tore my lateral ligament in my knees, but that was like takedowns, not like I couldn't have tapped. If that makes sense. Just my leg twisted and it went. Yeah.
What's some things you could be mindful of to kind of prevent injury in training? What are you some of the most common mistakes you see guys making, or things they should do they're not doing?
Preventing injury. Oh, I mean, the obvious ones like anything like explosive or jumping. You know.
Okay.
Yeah. The best thing to prevent injury, I think, is just play like a slower game. You know, try to be that style that just like you get a grip and you inch your way to the next one. If you play a style where you're trying to go from stage 1 to 5, then you're gonna start like exploding into things, and that's when you don't know, like if your arm gets, and the same if your opponent's like that as well. You're both at risk of injury. So, I think playing a methodical style is probably the best thing, and then just like watching your training load, is probably the next biggest thing. I think. Don't wrestle if you don't want to get injured.
Yeah.
Just do jiu-jitsu. Groundwork. Yeah.
So you reckon like from like standing to like getting down is where the most injuries happen?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're training, that's the highest injury risk part.
Yeah.
I think you just fall. You know, you can land on your wrist. Someone can buckle your knee. Like when you're on the ground, you've already kind of fallen. So it's not as
how important is that? Like that exchange?
Well, for ADCC, it's very important because basically, in some parts of the match, if there hasn't been a submission, you're forced to play a wrestling match. Like you stand up and you lose points if you like try to play on the ground essentially without like trying to take them down. So ADCC is a little different to other jiu-jitsu rule sets.
And what position do you like to go in? What's your favorite? Like from standing, where do you like to go through?
Like takedown?
Yeah. Do you like to go on their guard?
This guy is fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is this too much? You can say something.
I mean, ideal, I just get their back.
Straight to back.
Yeah, I'm dragged to the back or something is good. But I don't know if that's my best move. But
yeah.
I mean, yes, it is. Yeah. In case you're watching.
Throw 'em off. Do you do much match study? Watch a lot of matches?
I've been watching like all the guys in my division and just not to like. I do like I study a lot of. I like watching and like saying, oh, okay, why are they doing that? Like from a like trying to understand to see if there's something new I can pick up.
Mm-hmm.
For example, like seeing Tommy fought Canuto, Tommy Langaker and Canuto, and he had that Matrix back take. And I was like, I noticed one thing that was different to how I would have done it, and I think it might make that move work for me.
Cool.
And like that's something I can easily, not sure I'll add it by ADCC, but we'll see. So like there's for that part of it, but also just like seeing what your opponents, I think you just want to know what their best moves are.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't do that many moves, you know. It's like, you know, even if you watch Gordon, like most of there's still like some very common patterns you'll see.
What do you think of the Felipe match?
I think Philippe did good. I mean, Gordon had better wrestling, I think, but Philippe's guard looked really good. Every time he got guard, he was like able to get to 50-50.
Yeah.
It didn't sweep Gordon, but he like almost like he was coming up from that 70-30 position, like with the leg, like coming up into a single. He just couldn't chase him down. On top, he kind of swept himself twice, really, I think. Like, not deliberately, but like he initiated, tried to do like a switch base, and Gordon like countered off that. But then he learnt that, and he kind of started, he changed it by the third time and started just being a bit more patient. And he was, you know, I think Gordon, for whatever reason, got frustrated, and they ended up standing back up or something. So I can't remember what happened actually, but I thought he looked okay. I thought
powerful.
Yeah. Gordon's takedowns were certainly like probably a defining feature of that match. But yeah, like I think Philippe in ADCC rules, especially if they don't meet in the final, there's some avenues for Philippe to get him.
Wow.
Fingers crossed.
We'll edit that part out. I have to live in Austin. But the ending was very strange.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, how do you judge someone going through that situation?
Yeah. The death of Lowe that's freaking crazy.
You probably don't know what we're talking about.
Someone lost.
Someone got shot, brother.
No, a guy's
What?
like
Shot?
So like
No
a
way.
guy, there's like a really big super fight between Gordon and Philippe.
Yep.
It's like the one guy that had beaten Gordon twice before, so it was like a big revenge match. And then like the night before the match, Philippe Pena's like one of his best friends got murdered in Brazil. So it was like
What?
And he quit like halfway through the match. He like quit. He said, "Oh, I've had enough," you know. And so like
I thought you were joking.
like,
Fuck.
yeah, no, that's real. So like, how do you know?
How can you judge it? You
How
can't.
can you judge
Yeah.
what his motives were for that? You know,
Definitely.
it's tough.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Jiu-Jitsu is a dangerous sport, man.
Yeah.
Well, Brazil is a
Brazil.
dangerous country. You've been to Brazil, right? You've been around that place.
Yeah, a few times.
Wow.
Who do you reckon? Which country's got the best jiu-jitsu?
It seems now the US is heading, or if it's not already there. I mean, probably because of the top. Usually, if you're the best guy in Brazil, you move to the US.
Yeah.
You make more money.
Ah,
living
okay,
there. So
okay.
like, and then, so then those guys obviously set up gyms and start teaching everyone there. And you know, I think like probably if you looked at like the Gi World Championships, Brazil's probably still
the top.
taking it, but like, I don't know actually. Yeah, I mean it's kind of hard to say because like there's probably more Brazilians winning than Americans, but those Brazilians live in America. So
Interesting.
what do you? Does America
Yeah.
then get to claim them as having the best jiu-jitsu? I don't know.
That is interesting. Do you feel like there's like certain things they do in Brazil that's like no one else anywhere else in the world does? Like, did you train with them?
That's like
Yeah, like they're training.
Technique-wise.
Yeah, technique wise.
nah, not really. To be honest, I think it's something that's replicable everywhere. They've just got so many people doing it. Yeah.
I didn't have anybody basically doing bolos from De La Riva. No-gi was a very rare thing. Someone to attempt in Austin. In Sydney, maybe a little bit. But here, I think primarily because of your influence.
Yeah.
Everyone, De La Riva, bolo. Everyone's the side, like the truck transitions and crab ride, a lot of this stuff. So it's interesting, like a person, if a technique is considered, you're using it, a lot of people just think, okay, that must be a high percentage technique.
Yeah.
Because you often replicate certain guys and whatnot. And it may not be, it may just be, it's just popular. I think certain techniques that were just kind of like, Deep half was around for a while, then it's
Yeah.
kind of gone. I don't know it's not really going anywhere.
What do you reckon's in now? I think that's which techniques are like the current ones that people are like
Look,
the
I think
most
everyone.
percentage one?
Look, I think like compared to last ADCC, for example, for this one, I just think the wrestling level's going to be so much higher. You know, I haven't been to B team. Probably can talk for them, but you can speak on behalf of Craig. Of course.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I imagine their classes probably just look like wrestling classes for the most part, with a bit of groundwork.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's like such an important factor.
Mm-hmm.
But you can always, the pendulum can swing too far.
Yeah.
And as soon as you forget about other things, as soon as you think something doesn't work or is not useful, it starts working again.
Yeah.
Because you need to have the defensive. Like, you need to be good at defending
Of course.
those things, and like things that go out of fashion can come back in. So
What was the influence of is there any other guy I know? John Danaher. What was his influence on like jiu-jitsu and
as a whole?
Yeah, like did you have any like encounters with him? Or?
He did a seminar here, not here in the Absolute Collingwood gym, maybe I don't know, I'm gonna say like 6 years ago or something. Could have been less, could have been more. Look, he's the coach of Gordon and Gary and quite a few people who've done really well. So he's I think like this is probably two areas. Like one, he's like I don't know who's let's say that John made up all the leg locks. I don't know who actually out of their gym was like coming up with those systems.
Glad he's
but
saying
like
this and all.
So
he
just invented
out of their
leg
gym.
locks.
So John's he kind of like they were able to do it in what I would say is like a systematic way. Like people were like they'd see a leg and they'd grab it and try and twist it, but then like to take that and go, okay, well, let's turn this into a position that has stability and I can like hold it and I can stop my opponent moving and I can then look for this grip and this grip and this grip and then I can get the it's like
system.
a lot more systematized. So like
and is that where you got your like did you learn from that or did you already have like a consensus?
So I
before?
actually, I mean, for me it was like I started with Ryan Hall's 50-50 instructional. This is like 12 13 years ago.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. So I spent a lot of time doing 50-50.
You pay for it, the instruction?
Yeah, I bought it. Yeah.
He's a better man than mine. This guy's a man of integrity. Honestly.
He just couldn't figure out torrents. He's like, this leg lock system is great, but torrents.
I actually can't bring myself to torrent one of Lockie's instructionals.
Yeah.
Once let's just dark moment, I got it flashed on the screen, and immediately it goes to Lachlan looking in the camera, talking about how it really hurts him, and then I go back to the times where Lachlan did a private with me, and then I'm like have to pay him, and then I rocked up one day over here. You would send us a Dion, and I was like, here's like $20. And you're like, what for? I'm like, look, I'll give you 30 later. And then I'll give you and you were like, dude, just keep the money. And I'm like, dude, this guy's freaking always giving me free shit. Don't worry, I'm over here. On top of all of that, still, I'm like, turn this off. Still Gordon. Where's Gordon? Where's John?
Yeah, no, I started with Ryan Hall's and then seeing, I kind of like, so Danaher and the guys that were under him, so there was like Eddie Cummings and Tonnen, and there was a point in time where they were winning like the EBI, the Eddie Bravo Invitational, but that was like the guys that were in that at that point weren't necessarily like world champions. So I was still a bit like, does it? Like, is this leg lock system like, is it the next thing, or are the guys they're beating just not like at a level that can deal with it? And then, sure enough, quite soon after that, they're getting like some world champions, and then that's when I was kind of like, okay, like I'll start playing that system again. And then I ended up kind of going back to the 50-50, so sort of getting my own little spin back to Ryan Hall's. Well, I mean, I say I had my own kind of variant. I'm not my own, but like, cause I don't really believe anyone made up anything. Like even the positions that Danaher's guys were using have been around before. Like you can find old footage of people using them, but like I suppose like just like it takes, you got to be pretty switched on to like look at that, you know, and go, oh, how can we like make this better or make this a system and actually really understand it and like, you know, so
Do you?
I think that's probably what
record at your seminars.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
So the techniques.
I probably don't really care nowadays. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like, I've got instructionals out there, and it's like,
Yeah,
someone can pirate it.
Yeah.
You know, like, as in, like, they can upload it somewhere. It's like, and I mean, I probably shouldn't say that. No, you can't. There's only one way to get
It cannot be found.
Yeah. No, but you know, if someone records my seminar, like, I mean, I'd ask them not to put it online.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and in worst case, you could report it on YouTube or something. But yeah, it's probably no different. You know, if you've got instructionals out there, people have your material on their computer that they could, you know, put online if they want. So.
Yeah, it's tricky in that sense. Like I
think you just gotta, you know, like unfortunately, but like some people are gonna do that.
Yeah.
Do you feel like people replicated your style?
Yeah, my style. Yeah, I think there's like, I have like there's some moves that I favored that you see used. Yeah, you see, and now unfortunately people are good at dealing with it. So, but anyway, that's made me like make some adaptations. So.
Yeah.
And did you like approach it like as an art, or did you approach it more like this is fucking this works, this works, and do you know what I mean? Was it more like style? Yeah, like stylistically, did you be like, I'm gonna show my style rather than more percentage wise? Do you know what I mean?
Probably more percentage wise. Yeah. Probably more calculated.
Yeah.
There's definitely like there's an art side to it. But I think like, you know, the goal as a coach is like to try to be able, like, you know, when you're teaching, you're probably more going to gravitate to things that like you can explain and so people can replicate, right? Like you want to, if it seems like you know, an art and, you know, it's like a weird movement that you've kind of creatively come up with, you want to break that down and make it something that you can give to your students and more, you know, you kind of try and turn it into a science a bit.
Nice.
I find with teaching seminars, I'm kind of sometimes split between wanting to relay a lot of information, sort of have like a comprehensive view of a certain subject, but then also being like, okay, what is realistically digestible for the people here? How much can you give them?
Yeah, what's the right answer?
Well, it depends on who's there, what they already know. You know, like
but there's going to be people at different levels
exactly.
there. Right? Yeah. I always just like, I think people they're going to take like a few things away from you, from the seminar. And for some people, you'll give them those few things in the first 5 minutes. And then the rest is just like, oh, it's too much. Yeah. But I think you kind of want the advanced people to be, you know, like, I don't know, I just think about someone who's like, oh, I've bought all your instructionals and I've studied them all. Like, and you want to give them something.
How many of those people are out there?
There's a few, yeah. And like, you want to give them, like, oh, that was a good detail that, like, you know, that's a bit different. Yeah. So like,
right.
I suppose that, yeah, everyone does them differently, to be honest. Like, I've seen some people, you know, I've been to seminars where like someone will show something and they'll walk around and make sure everyone gets every move. But then it's like, you're going to show 4 moves. Right. So like, if you already know those 4 moves and you got it right at the start, it's like, you're kind of like, all right, how many heel digs do I have to do? You know?
Of course.
So I don't know. It's like, there's no easy answer.
Yeah.
It's the same problem in teaching, you know?
Yeah.
Like you run a class, you've got someone who's like been training for 2 months and maybe someone who's been training for 8 years. Like how can you possibly give something that's like perfect amount of information and delivered the right way for both? You can't.
You always let us have a lot of autonomy in terms of if you're working on something else, you're teaching someone, do that. But I've done that with some coaches and they've taken offense to it.
Yeah.
Like some coaches are like, do what I'm doing, man.
Yeah.
Like it's like a kind of, they're losing control of the class kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's just the style. And then, you know, that's another thing. Like, I don't know what's right and what's not. I try to let people like study and work their own style and so on. So I get like a lot of variety in the gym. But maybe it is better if everyone just does like the one game. You know, you see a lot of gyms that are really good that do that.
Yeah.
It's like forget everything else. Jiu-Jitsu is we're just narrowing it down to this set of movements. And anytime we deviate, we just put them back there. And people do really well that way too. But I find that boring, you know. But so I prefer having like, you know, like, I mean, you were talking about deep half guard. Like if someone in the gym wants to be good at deep half guard, I'm like, cool. Work on that. Yeah. Even though like you don't see that much the deep half these days at the World Championships. Like, I mean, it might be a different. I might say something different to me. If they're like, I want to win black belt World Championships, I'm working on deep half guard. I'll be like, all right, well, you're a light featherweight. How many light featherweights do you see playing that game? But then it can also be the, you know, like I was saying before, as soon as you forget about it, if something, you're doing something that no one's using, that can be your avenue to like, you know, catch them off guard.
A lot of people said that to me about rubber guard. And I think they're right in the sense that at a certain point, I'd kind of gotten as good as I was going to get.
We said it to Aaron Peterson about the buggy choke.
Yeah.
And then it's...
There you go. There you go. That's something... a few things. One was that don't do this, the arm throw, the Cianagi. You told me that without the story. And it was also don't not work on your guard retention, just throw up triangles from side control.
Oh, right. Yeah. Maybe that's the next thing.
But who knows?
What do you reckon Bobby needs to help his game the most?
Oh.
Because I think
I'm trying to sell seminars. So.
Well, you've got like a pro in front of you,
Yeah, no, I come to the sessions here, brother. And I'm just asking.
Yeah, do you look at Bobby and be like, yeah, you suck at this?
Yeah, there's a few things from the weekend. There's a few things that from last weekend. A few things to work on. Yeah.
Fucking never feel something.
I want to hear this. I want to hear what you're bad at. Do you know, like off your head or?
Yeah. I mean, there's two things strategically that
I'm competing soon.
Do you want me to not say it? I can not say it.
Maybe don't. Maybe
why?
Don't. All right. Just try to be general without being too specific about what techniques.
Right. Okay, you work on it.
Just like more proactive at.
I think that's keeping your
keeping your opponent from closing in on your hips.
Yeah.
You need to be from bottom and then from top, just not sitting back on leg locks.
Yeah. Definitely. Also, I was often just conceding. Yeah, that's right. And then I would get to like saddle or something. I'm like, oh, I can't be here. I'm just gonna instinctively take an overhook or a dig, which is so weird. Because the other thing is, I kept saying to myself in training, I'm like, I need to start practicing for federation. But as soon as they'd be in the thick of it, they're taking a dig on me. I'm like, you ain't taking a dig on my hill. Yeah, me taking a dig on yours. It's hard to kind of be disciplined with your training sometimes. Work on what you need to work on.
Yeah.
All of that. Because you're balancing like the fun side with what you really need to do for skill development.
Yeah. I mean, you can, but I also think, I think sometimes just like what you're interested in. If you're interested in proper, like, I mean, if you got the goal in mind and then you're interested in little like areas of that, then you just do what you're interested in at the time,
Yeah.
I mean, some people, I mean, I'm just saying this because some people come like, oh, how long should I work on my X guard before moving on? And I'm like, till you get bored of it, I guess. Like, if you're not, like it should, if you're doing your X guard, and like, at least for me, like if I was working my X guard and something's not working, then I'm not going to be bored of it. I'm like, no, I'm figuring out this problem,
Right.
And then if like, I've solved that problem. Sometimes it's still hard, but like, but I know, like it's hard to sweep because it's a hard position. They can fight it, but like, I know all the answers. I just need to just like get more training. Like that might be time where I'm like, okay, I'm understanding it well. I'll start focusing on.
If you're missing knowledge, then it's a different thing.
Yeah, I think so.
How far is he off the top?
How far is he off the top? He's purple
Don't
belt.
answer that
Why?
question.
Purple belt
Why?
at the moment, so he's got a.
Like, what level are
yeah.
you at now?
Purple belt. So there's
Yeah,
two more till black belt, but of course,
but they're all different. Yeah,
belts.
like purple belt in Melbourne, purple belt in Austin, 2 different belts.
well, there's no
right?
standard of belts at all. It's not like you have to meet this criteria and now you have a belt. You know, everyone has a different system of even what is taken into consideration for a belt.
Okay, so
That's a good question. How did you find, just generally in the US, like the standard of a purple belt compared to generally in Australia?
Right. See, I was.
Maybe you're just gonna compare to B team, but yeah,
That's the problem. I was
Yeah,
my
yeah.
it was skewed because I'm in like one of the top competitive gyms.
Yeah.
And I didn't get too much of a sense. I did find though that the Australians traveling over were generally very competitive.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
often because we're only doing no-gi, I'm not even too sure of everybody's belt rank.
Yep.
But the Australians were very competitive, particularly with leg locks.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the Americans are still they've come through like heavy gi schools,
Yep.
Brazilians, whatnot. They obviously outclass us in the wrestling.
Yeah.
That's when and it shows even a little bit of someone's done a few years of high school or
Mm.
a college wrestler. They're able to really have good base, stay heavy on top, obviously take down positions and turtle. Turtle's becoming
Mm.
for the longest time been a important position, especially in ADCC. So yes, it's sometimes like different styles and whatnot. But I think we're starting to get competitive. Obviously, the Aussies who are traveling there are very serious about their training. You're gonna
Yeah, you're getting most of Australia going there. So
yeah,
Yeah.
and
it's good. One day I'll get a trip there.
yeah.
So you haven't trained in any other gyms, like in like America or?
Yeah, I've tried. Yeah, it's just been. I mean, I haven't been to the States since last ADCC really, because of all COVID and everything. And now I'm waiting on my visa. Like I want to do some seminars and so on.
Damn
but
visas.
yeah, I mean, I'll be there to compete, but
Yeah,
just to compete and come back.
I want open borders, man. After my whole freaking 2-3 hour ordeal, that's all it took to break me.
Yeah, I mean that's. I've been to Brazil and done trained at like Allianz, which is probably like historically one of the best
You don't
competitions.
say alliance, you say alliance.
Allianz. That's how they say it.
Really?
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
makes sense.
depends if I'm doing my Portuguese.
Yeah. You speak a
accent.
bit of Portuguese?
Yeah, he's speaking in Portuguese.
And obviously in the States, I've mostly trained at like Cabrinhas, but I've visited like not AOJ. I visited Atos, Galvao's gym. I've been to Unity. I've been to Marcelo's. And
Yeah.
a whole bunch of places. So
Is there like a gym on every corner?
yeah, I mean the difference is like just the amount of. I think you've got like people that really. This is that I think is like different to here is like there's people that really want it, like really, really like everything, every part of their day. They've left their whole life. They're sleeping on the mats or like
in Brazil.
in Brazil and even in the US, there's like gyms where like they wake up in the morning, they're training like
Romantic.
I think in some ways Australia has it too good to get people doing that.
It's the same thing in soccer.
Like why would
Yeah.
why would I give up so much when I've got a pretty comfortable life in Australia?
Exactly, exactly. You're in the top 1%.
This is the best
Yeah.
patch of dirt out there, in my
I
opinion.
know, man.
So I think there's like now that you see like lots of people that seem to do really well. You're either really poor, you have nothing.
Yep.
So you're like, this is like I'm just gonna like sleep on the mat, like the dirtiest, like grossest thing ever. But like,
Mention
and I'm
names.
gonna do it, and then I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna get to the world,
Yep.
and I'm gonna make a name for myself, and then I can, live off jiu-jitsu, and that's you got that, and you got the opposite, who's like super wealthy,
Too rich.
all the free time in the world.
Yes.
So you can just go, oh, I got nothing. Like I don't even need to think about working. I'm just gonna train. And then you've got people who are like in the middle who are like, oh, I've got to actually like think about a career and making a living and all these sort of things. And because it's not really, to be honest, it's not a smart.
Not very viable.
Like, well, for your average, like I think it's a very enjoyable passion to follow and like go, okay, I want to like train really hard jiu-jitsu, see how far I can take. I think that's a really like, that can be a really good pursuit.
Admirable,
Yeah. And you can probably learn a lot of life lessons from that, and like there's some really good things for that. But like, if you had like an 18-year-old come to you, like, well, should I, I want to live a good life, have a good career and a family, and be able to support them, and should I quit uni and go full-time jiu-jitsu? I'd go, like. You only see the people left, survivorship bias. You see the Gordon Ryan and these people, you're like, look, he's making money. It's like, but
it's a 1%.
Like, how many people wanted to be Gordon Ryan that you don't know about? Like,
that's
probably
broke their
tens of thousands at least.
Yeah.
You think so? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Scary thought.
Can't wait to go to these seminars. But how do you like how do you decide that you want to do like a tournament, and then how do you prepare? Like, do you like sit there like, I got to do
this question.
Is it bad?
I'm going to ask a question.
All right, you go.
Alrighty.
So we kind of touched on this earlier when I asked you about, we were talking about Gordon and the whole, steroid thing in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And we had a chat in the class the other day. I asked you, I was like, so-and-so started getting a bit more. Actually, you know what? I wasn't talking about anyone else. I'm over here giving myself up. But I was saying, like, the person next to was getting serious about the jiu-jitsu. They decided to start doing steroids.
Yeah.
And you were like, what's that? How do those two things correlate? Like, the guy's getting serious about his jiu-jitsu. He decided to do steroids. And I meant it more as in, that's what they were thinking.
I mean, I think my response was like, what is that? Is that a sign that someo's getting serious about jiu-jitsu that they're doing? Yeah.
Because
it was something along those lines. Yeah. I don't know. Look, I mean, I guess we're talking about it, right? You wanted to talk about it. Yeah. So I was saying to you the other day, and I can't remember the name of the politician, but it was someone in America, and I don't even know what the thing was. It was something like, did you steal this money or something? And then it was a question posed to a politician. And it's like, why'd you ask that question? I didn't care what. I knew that he didn't. I just wanted to hear him say. I wanted to hear him deny it, like, publicly.
Right.
And, this is why I generally, or even like I made a post about it, and then obviously Gordon accused me of being on steroids. But like, generally, if you get out there and you're talking about, like, obviously I don't like that. That's the way a lot of people in the sport are. If you're talking about that, then people start going like, oh, like LACHLAN, steroid, like, it's just like
your name's embroiled in scandal.
Yeah, your name's then like associated with like discussions on steroids, so it's probably better to just not say anything, and it's not something that they associate. But it's kind of like you can't prove a negative. Like, how do you prove to someone that you don't? I've offered people if they want to pay for like drug tests. That offer's still available. If anyone ever wants to like pay for Asada to come down and do a test at any time, feel free, go for it.
Did it ever cross your mind? Did you ever think, like, I could be more successful, or I should maybe learn more about it, figure out if it can be done safe? Because a lot of your, like,
crossed my mind, is it like I was never like going like, should I, shouldn't I? I was never at a point where to me it's always been cheating. So so like like I think if you, and this was my post, like, I think if you win a tournament and you're taking steroids, I don't think you can really claim that win, because there's probably people in your division that weren't. So you were like giving yourself an unfair advantage. And maybe and then maybe people go, but everyone's on it. I think that's straight out false.
Yeah.
I know that's straight out false. But so not everyone is on it, and therefore, if you're giving yourself an unfair advantage, then you can argue like ADCC. Technically, I don't even think it's in the rules. So technically, maybe it's not cheating. But I still think if you're going against people who aren't, then in some ways, maybe it's not cheating, but I still think it's unfair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty good. He's nailed that one.
Piss into this cup.
Yeah.
And what do you do for recovery if you don't do steroids?
I just don't train that much, as you heard. Yeah.
He doesn't even do jiu-jitsu.
To be honest, until now I got Walt, I'm a lot more busy, but
Yeah.
which is probably why I've been injured more lately. I just usually just go home and I edit videos and I'm like lying down and relaxing.
Do you follow a particular kind of diet or anything?
Not really. Only in the lead up to tournaments.
Generally, you eat home cooked food or you eat fast food and stuff?
Anything.
Really?
Yeah.
What's your favorite fast food?
Favorite fast food?
Yeah.
Fast food. Not fast food, but my favorite, I can say, I'll just give you a favorite meal.
All right, go for it.
Yeah. I like bibimbap. Have you had bibimbap? The Korean,
Have you had it?
Dude, I'm just thinking I'd love to see like juiced up LACHLAN Giles. Like just blasting.
Yeah.
Sending him through. We keep it a secret. We have a double in here.
Yeah.
Who's walking around looking normal size. We film him from afar. And meanwhile, he's in like a secret facility
be
somewhere.
like that Icarus documentary.
And then last minute we
yeah.
replace it. He comes out in the open weight looking like Andre Galval. You tattoo on the chest and stuff. No one's prepared.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was, like, to me, diet is good for health. Like long-term health, it's probably like and I try not to just, I don't just try and eat crap.
Yes,
but like, but I'm not, if I'm like, I feel like this, then I'll eat it if that's what I feel like eating.
You don't do any lifting at all?
No.
No resistance training, bands, calisthenics, nothing?
No. Stretching.
Stretching.
Stretches.
You're serious about the stretching?
Not even
Not
that
even?
much.
You
I do
were at one
like
point.
5-10 minutes a day. Yeah.
Who are we interviewing? The worst athlete of all time.
No, I have my this is
Is your self-conscious?
That's jiu-jitsu.
So I just think these things are like
Bullshit.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, like diet is a good thing. Like if you want to not have a heart attack, diet's important.
Right.
If you want to like be able to perform at a high level, I mean, look at you've seen like what did Michael Phelps was eating, like 5 hamburgers a day or something. Like, it was something ridiculous. Like
Damn.
I've seen probably the most strong athletic guy.
Yeah, but he's on
I've ever
steroids.
seen. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Who was it? Hector Lombard.
Yeah.
Like, that guy would just eat McDonald's all the time when
Wow.
I first met him. So like, and I was like, this guy's like ridiculously strong. So
What Travis Stevens?
and the same with most things. I think most things that people strength and conditioning actually like there's actually research. I'm not saying that's bullshit. I just I'll talk about that maybe in a moment. But like what's the main thing that gets you good at jiu-jitsu? Just do that.
Yeah.
Steroids.
You're doing the thing.
Finally, it's come around. Good timing.
If you're doing,
well done.
if you're doing the thing, let's say like your technique and your training is responsible for like 80% of your improvement.
Yes.
And then like maybe 10, you can get an extra 10% by doing stretching and another 7% from lifting weights and then like 2% from diet. Like I think like some people put so much time on this. It's just like, but you just do this 80% thing well and get the most out of that.
That's right.
It's kind of like the rest is negligible.
The boulders over the little pebbles.
But like I said at the start, like I think, especially like if you're a heavyweight, I think you kind of have to do strength and conditioning. But I don't think people I think in people in my weight division, it's not strength is usually not the factor that's determining who wins. It's like a technical error. I can look at any match from my division. Say, if you had just done this, you wouldn't have lost. At least in that moment, that move that they did would not have worked if you just like put a frame here. Or whatever.
Right.
So like when I go to training, I'm like, do I want to lift weights to try and stop that thing happening, or do I want to just like do the technical thing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, you do papers. You write papers. I've heard.
You write a paper, right?
I'm not asking for a
PhD.
cigarette.
Yeah.
You do, yeah. So you have a PhD in
four publications. Yeah.
4 publications.
Yeah.
So is that like at a university or?
Yeah,
Journal,
through
right?
journal. Yeah.
And what were they on? Besides PEDs.
They were on. That was all about. It's all related to knee pain. So like,
Okay.
whether
Great, he's got a fucked up knee. We'll have a
kneecap related pain and like whether like, well, we'll talk about strengthening. Whether strengthening muscles is
So like the
beneficial and which muscles you would want to.
like the hip flexor and that.
you
The
found it was?
quadriceps and
Yeah.
But there's sorry. Does it work? Like what I found? It kind of. Yeah. Look, strengthening helps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you? So did your stuff get peer reviewed?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Do you ever do that with like your jiu-jitsu?
Peer review it.
Yeah. Do you
I
ever
feel
like?
that's training. Like training's like, you have. I guess if you have like a new, if I watch, like, I saw Tommy Langeka does a little detail that was different. It's like, and then I'll go and I'll try it, and
Works.
like I'll try it, and then you want people doing different reactions. Like, what if you do this? What if you do that? And like with live resistance, of course. And then sometimes you're like, oh, but if his opponent just did this, it wouldn't work anymore. And then I'll usually throw it away. If it's something that can just be blocked, especially if it can be blocked and like then blocking it like really puts you in a bad spot, I won't do it. But if it's like,
do you ever like get like your match or whatever, and you send it to someone, and they come back with like, you're like, where did I fuck up? Or do you know already this is what I fucked up? Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I do. I mean, that's probably like, to be honest, that's, if I had more time, I'd like to do a lot more of that with like our pro team, just film their roles and their competitions and like go through it and be like, well, look, this is what you're training today, because it's an obvious thing that you're not doing. Like you can see it. You can see that you're missing or failing in this area.
Yeah.
But that takes, you can't do that for everyone in the gym.
Not enough time of the day.
And just generally it takes a lot of time. Like I'm so busy at the moment, it's hard to fit that in. But maybe when I retire.
Do you ever watch other instructionals?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
And what's the future for What
Me?
are you trying to go into now?
Submeta is better.
Because you've pretty much like clocked it, right? Like
Sorry.
you've done pretty much everything in
No, really. I mean,
jiu-jitsu.
I got the bronze in open weight, which was not even like it was amazing. It was like probably better than even if I had won my weight division, it wouldn't have done as much for me
for sure.
as like doing well in the open
Bronze
weight.
better color.
Well, how you won?
Yeah,
right?
third is the.
Third
I know
is
that's
the
the one with the
worst.
hairy chest. Well, that's true. So. So I want to try to win in my weight division. I'll give that another go. So that's like, because I actually lost in my weight, and then I was like, I'll go in the open weight, and I actually did really well. But it's not how it was meant to be. And it wasn't what I was actually like. I had a goal to do well in my weight, and it wasn't really what I did. So yeah, we'll have another go at that. And then after that, probably like more focused. I always want to. I think I'll be bored of, like, I won't find jiu-jitsu interesting if I'm not myself training and trying to improve. So I'll be working lots of different things and trying to improve. I still expect to be improving technically, but when I eventually retire, whether that is soon or whether that is a little down the track, like I'll probably just like, do less for me and more focused on, just do it more casually, like I don't have to, when you're training for a competition, you got to like, you got to be fit. You got to push hard. Whereas if you're just casual, you're a bit tired. Oh, let's have a rest. So that's kind of, and then more focus on coaching. And obviously, you might not know, but I make instructional videos and so on as well. So
Yeah. That's sick, man.
I heard you say in I think it was a pod with maybe Sonny Brown or someone. It might have been the mental models. I'm not sure. But you said you can there's some things you can do teaching via like, a video, but like online submeta, let's say, that you can't even do in person.
Yeah. Well, I think it's look, to be honest, an instructional is a better format for conveying information for people.
Mm-hmm.
Because
of the volume.
Yeah, you can't let's say it's an hour and a half instructional on like how to heel hook from the saddle.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do an hour and a half class and
That's
expect
right.
someone like No one wants to hear you talk for an hour and a half.
That's right.
And if you do, most of it's going in one ear, out the other, like we said. So like an instructional lets you go like, I'll watch, you own it, you watch 10 minutes of it, you go to class, you try it out, you come back, you're like, I'll watch, I didn't get that, I'll watch it again. Like, so it's just like a lot more, the person can, you can, or you can watch the whole thing and then come back and like, oh, what was that thing he said about this? Like, it's just a lot easier for the person to find the relevant information for them, I think. Yeah. And yeah, no one wants to go to, like, a class format is actually, you kind of got to show. I don't like explaining a technique definitely more than 10 minutes really in a class. I think beyond that, without practicing it, you're starting to get a bit, everyone's getting bored and not really taking in what you say. So, yeah.
Did you just get this from somewhere else? Because it's like the only one that I know of that does these instructionals.
I think
I haven't seen a
way
boxing
more you
one.
gotta know. I feel.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, boxing would be interesting. I think there probably could be. There could be a good. I mean, I'm not in that field, so I have no idea. But I imagine you could do a good. You could probably have like similar things, but I think it's so much more. Even wrestling, I've found, is a lot more timing based, and it's harder for people to teach.
Yeah.
At least like when I see a jiu-jitsu move,
Yeah.
I go into the gym and I can just like, oh yeah, I'll
can
do that.
it. Yeah.
I'll try that, and everything that the person said like kind of happens. And then
Yeah.
I watch a wrestling one, and I'm just like, I don't know how
What is
they're
he
doing that.
talking
Like
about?
how did they, like,
it
just has to happen. You have to be so quick going from like, and you have to read the timing so well that to even be able to like attempt the move.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's some good wrestling ones.
Do you feel like the UFC's like improved jiu-jitsu? Like
Only in that more people probably like without
The
UFC,
volume.
less people would do it. Yeah.
But do people like come like class and they're like, oh, I watched this in the UFC, and then they
it's
want to
usually
come
really
and just
terrible.
do those?
And they do something that, I mean, jiu-jitsu is like the evolution of the techniques in jiu-jitsu is just so much.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I'm trying to think of anything has come from UFC that is actually like recently that grapplers have been like, oh yeah, we should do that. Actually, maybe Khabib's like his Dagestani handcuff, I think they call it.
Leg riding and stuff.
Yeah, like that's probably something that's
Popularized.
that's really wrestling. It's
Yeah.
really just a wrestling thing that got popularized, and then jiu-jitsu guys have added that. But otherwise, I'd say it's probably mostly the other way. It's probably the same in, I imagine, because MMA is like a mix of wrestling and jiu-jitsu and striking, and I imagine like some new trend in striking will eventually make its way into
Definitely
like
a
MMA
gym,
in some way. I imagine it's not the other way. I doubt UFC affects the way that Muay Thai guys fight.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I could be wrong.
Who's your favorite fighter?
MMA.
Just ever.
MMA. Let's talk MMA.
Besides Bobby.
Bobby, yeah. MMA. I always liked Kazushi Sakuraba.
Yeah. Wow.
And in jiu-jitsu? It's yourself, isn't it?
Yeah. Nah.
Bobby again.
It's like a photo of himself in his room.
Look, there's a few different people. I'd say like to study from like long term. I've always liked studying like the Mendes brothers. Who else? Lucas Lepre. As an all rounder, Lucas Lepre, I think.
Wow.
And so he does everything well.
Pretty much.
Oh, sweet. All right. You got anything else?
Thanks heaps for doing this, Lachlan.
No worries.
Super busy
Yeah.
guy. You've a child. Rocked up. He's
I've
got
got to
a
get
child.
back to.
Really, really grateful
Yeah.
for.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I don't know how long he can stay in the car.
Fuck, we've been here an hour.
It's all right, we'll give you money for the parking meter.
You know what? It's so weird, but like even when you say that, I have to go like, did it in the car? Like it's like, like it's just like
Have you lost track of him and shit before?
Yeah.
Nah. Probably like, it is the hardest was like when he was first born, and you just used to like you are used to just getting out of the car. Like, oh yeah, get out of the car, and then I was like, because he's not making a sound like in the back, and then you're like, oh yeah. Well, now it doesn't. Yeah, now it doesn't seem to be.
Are his punishments like a triangle lock?
Yeah.
I went to the.
I'll tell you what.
I was Sam and I were hanging out, and I'm at his place. He's like, "Let's go to the park and eat." I'm like, "All right, we'll go to the park." But I don't really want to take my food. He's like, "Why?" I'm like, "Well, I'll eat the food, and then I can throw away the container. But then I'll have this spoon because I borrowed one of these metal spoons, and because it's dirty, I don't want to have it in my pocket. So I'm just carrying a spoon around in the city. It's strange, right?" He's like, "Bobby, you friggin'." People carry packs and stuff on there. People carry water on their heads for kilometers. Carry your spoons. I'm like, well, I got shamed into carrying the spoon. So I go to the park. Sure enough, same thing happens. I go into the first shop. People asking me weird questions. Why are you just holding a spoon around stuff? It was really annoying. So I'm just saying, having a kid would be much worse. A spoon? If I really want, I could put it down and be like, so long. Goodbye, spoon. I mean, you're really committed now.
Oh, you committed? Yeah.
When's this baby going up for adoption?
Yeah.
I got to give it back.
You need a spoon collection. That's what you need.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
That's what he gets me the other day. He said the same thing. He goes, yeah, it's amazing though. At least that's what you got to say. Awesome. Sweet as.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming
thanks,
on.
guys. Cheers.
Yeah, appreciate it. Good
All
shit.
right, thanks. See ya.